When I grab your hand, run like hell. Vincent's words were barely audible. Trinity nodded just slightly, so he knew that she heard him. They were outnumbered 4-2, and they were surrounded. Trying to convince her that you're worthy of her trust? The big man from the Black Moon pack taunted Vincent. It's too late for that. Your pack will go down soon enough. It's a shame. If your alpha wasn't so unreasonable, we could have avoided all this bloodshed. One of the guards behind them moved closer. Bloodshed? Trinity did not like the sound of that. Trinity ran through all the options in her head. She understood why Vincent wanted to make a run for it. But all the guards had to do was shift, and they would catch them in no time. And they'll learn I don't have a wolf. Trinity shivered. She didn't want to know what they would do if they learned she couldn't shift. If they couldn't run, they could try to fight where they were. Trinity searched her surroundings for a weapon, but the maid had already cleared all the dishes and silverware. And again, she worried the men would shift. They would rip me to pieces. Their only option was to wait for Reese to come back. These men wouldn't dare hurt Luna in front of her alpha. She needed to buy more time. You don't know who you're messing with! Trinity was talking about Reese, but the men took it the wrong way. What makes you so special? The guard behind them inched closer. You're a pathetically weak female. The big guard by the door cackled. All you're good for is a roll in the sack and popping out pups. Trinity's blood was boiling. If that's all you think Luna is good for, why isn't your pack more powerful? Trinity rose to her feet. Maybe if you treated women with more respect, you'd learn to shut your mouths and think with that thing between your ears for half a minute. All I've seen since I arrived at this pack is a bunch of little boys complaining about how nobody wants to give them any land. That land is owed to us, the big guard roared. According to who? Trinity almost laughed at him. Men and their entitlement. Last I checked, that land belonged to my pack, and when Reese hears about this, he's going to make sure that your pack doesn't see another acre of land for generations. How about you get out of your way and stop making problems for your alpha? He's not going to be happy when he hears about the mess you've made. All of the guards and Vincent stared at Trinity in disbelief. Who do you think you are? The big guard growled. I'm a Luna. Or did you forget? Omegas like you know to treat me with respect. How did you know I'm an Omega? Truthfully, Trinity couldn't explain how she knew that he was an Omega, the lowest rank of wolf possible. She realized she could look around the room and sense their individual ranks and strengths. While their combined power would overwhelm her, she was confident she could take any one of them on their own. Is this an added benefit of being a Luna? You reek of weakness, and your low status is plain to see. Try having a little more tact next time, and maybe your inadequacy won't be so obvious, she added. Another guard behind her chuckled. Trinity whipped around. Is something funny, pup? She quickly scanned him. I'd put a sock in it if I were you. Unless you want everyone to know you aren't just an Omega, but you're also only half wolf. The man flushed a bright red. Who's next? Trinity was enjoying her power so much she almost forgot that her goal was to buy time. Luna, are you sure this is wise? Vincent's words were almost soundless. He was terrified. Don't worry, Vincent. I know what I'm doing. It was the most sure Trinity had felt of herself in a long time. And you! Trinity turned on the third guard. Does your friend over here know that you're having an affair with his mate? Trinity gestured to the big guard. It was only one time, I swear. How did you know that? Vincent looked at Trinity in awe. That was actually just a lucky guess. Trinity shifted her focus back to the big guard. Who can blame her? With the way you talk about women, I can't imagine you would make a satisfying mate. You little...
I wouldn't finish that sentence if I were you.
Trinity heard a familiar, deep, smooth voice growl from near the door.
Vincent, the meeting is over. We're leaving. Reese stalked into the room and grabbed Trinity's hand. What happened here? Reese looked around at the guards who were each shaking with rage.
We can discuss it in the car, Alpha. Vincent ushered them toward the door.
Very well.
As they walked out of the room, Trinity glared over her shoulder one last time, pushing all of her thoughts of rage, all of her negative emotions, toward the guards who had infuriated and threatened her. The man nearest to her fell over, and Trinity barely stifled a laugh. She managed to hold herself back until they left the house and approached their SUV. Then she burst into laughter.
What is it that you find so damn amusing right now? Reese snarled as he opened her door and shoved her inside before sliding into the driver's seat.
One of those idiots closer to me was so unnerved by us leaving that he fell over right before we rounded the corner. Trinity wiped away tears of laughter as both men froze. What? Trinity looked around at Reese and Vincent. Luna, tell us what happened. Vincent was speaking to Trinity slowly, as if she needed to be treated delicately. I'm serious. The last thing I saw was that guard, the big Omega who didn't know how to shut his mouth, fall to the ground. He wasn't even moving. Reese and Vincent looked at each other, worry and confusion on Vincent's face, a knowing expression on Reese's. It was funny. At least I held in my laughter until we got outside. Gave me a little bit of credit for that. Plus, that guy deserved much worse. Trinity could see that they both knew something that she didn't. I'm so tired of being kept in the dark. Can we go? Trinity crossed her arms. I just want to get out of here. Reese started the car and put it into gear. Trinity felt a wave of relief as the Alpha house disappeared behind them. The meeting ended much sooner than I expected, Vincent probed. And not a minute too soon. Trinity shuddered to think what would have happened if Reese hadn't shown up. She had been running out of stalling tactics. She would have to find a more effective way to defend herself next time. Sir? Did something happen?
Yeah, we heard the commotion. Reese drove faster. That, and I was done listening to his stupid, baseless demands. What was with this pack? What happened in there? Why was everyone so angry with you, little bunny? He questioned.
Remember when you asked me to hide my bad attitude in front of the other people? Trinity asked playfully. I disobeyed you, but I promise I had a good reason. I thought they were going to attack Luna. Vincent looked at her, his eyes pleading. Please be more careful next time. It was strategic, Vincent. You know we couldn't run. We didn't stand a chance if we had to fight. We needed time. You never cease to impress me, Luna. Vincent leaned back in his seat, finally understanding her plan. I'm just relieved that it worked. If Reese hadn't shown up.
But I did show up. Reese cut her off. You did well, Trinity.
Trinity looked down to hide the blush flooding her face.
And anyway, you rescued me too. I was tired of looking at Stanley's pathetic face.
All three of them burst into laughter, even Vincent. It was a welcome release after the tension-filled encounter. Trinity was feeling better than she had in a long time after releasing her frustrations on those moronic guards. Will we be able to maintain peace between our packs? Vincent reminded them of how serious the situation was.
Probably not. Reese sounded somber. We will likely be forced to fight to keep our land safe and our boundaries intact.
Are they strong enough to take us on? If those guards were any indication of what the Black Moon Pack's warriors were like, Trinity wasn't too concerned.
If it were just our pack against theirs, they might stand a chance. Maybe. Reese drifted into thought for a moment. But we have the additional support of the fealty packs that will lend us aid.
But you don't expect them to play fair, do you? Based on Trinity's first impression of these werewolves, they did not appear to be the honorable type. They were up to something. That was for sure.
Not in the least.
They arrived at the hotel about an hour away from Stanley's Alpha house.
This is still technically Stanley's territory, but we should be safe. Reese put the car in park. We're on the fringe and in the border city now. It's unlikely they try anything.
Trinity and Vincent exchanged a look. After all of the close calls of the last week, they didn't trust it. Trinity couldn't resist hitting the bell on the front desk. Reese yawned beside her, clearly too tired to tell her to behave herself. Not that she would have listened. The hotel's lobby seemed to stretch for miles, with glittering chandeliers and gorgeous artwork. It was beautiful, but in a timeless way that felt majestic and modern at the same time. Back when Grandfather rarely let her out of the house, Trinity used to daydream about gorgeous places like this. I've never seen a hotel this nice, she admitted breathlessly. Reese glanced down at her. He stood so close to her when they went to other packs, she had to crane her head up to meet his eye.
Wait until you see the rooms, he said. Tired as he was, his voice came out huskier than normal.
Her breath caught in her chest. Reese probably didn't mean anything by it, but it almost sounded like a welcome invitation. Thank you for waiting. a man said as he stepped up from the concierge desk. He tensed at the sight of Reese. He was a wolf, too.
Reese nodded to the man. Reservation for Gray.
Yes, sir. 1 moment. The clerk reached into the desk and pulled out their paperwork. We've been expecting you. Here's your paperwork, and here are your room keys. He plucked 2 leather pocketbooks from the papers and placed them next to each other on the desk.
Which is which? Reese asked.
And where's the third one? Trinity thought. She knew not to ask aloud. 2 rooms made sense for their happy couple act. It was a little weird that Vincent and Reese would be on a different floor than her, but it was better than the alternative, her sharing a room with Reese. Her pulse quickened, but she chuckled it away. He hated her too much for that to happen. The clerk opened one to show the handwritten number inside. This one is for the single on the 14th floor, number 1433. The other one is for your suite, sir, on the 25th floor, number 2501. You can take that elevator right there. Do you need help with your bags? Reese shook his head. Vincent spoke up from behind both Reese and Trinity. I've got them. Vincent had all 3 of their bags. Trinity supposed she'd have to take hers once they got to her room. Once the doors closed, Trinity held her hand out to Reese. He looked down, puzzled.
What?
She rolled her eyes. I need the key to my room. How else will I get in? Reese raised his eyebrow with a chuckle. He took the key card for room 1433.
Here you are, Vincent. Reese reached around her to hand the card to Vincent.
Trinity's heart quickened. Reese smirked. Vincent took the card while avoiding Trinity's eyes. Thank you, sir. Should I carry your bags up? Trinity couldn't breathe for a moment.
I can manage, Reese said. He took his and Trinity's bags from Vincent's hands.
Oh, goddess. The elevator dinged to a stop on the 14th floor. Oh, goddess. We're sleeping in the same room. Vincent met Trinity's unbelievably wide eyes. Do you need anything, Luna? He asked her. Help. She needed a way out. She couldn't sleep in the same room as Reese. She'd never been with a man overnight before. What did Reese think was going to happen? Would he shove her away like normal? Or was tonight the night he tried to make a move on her? He wouldn't, would he?
Reese nudged her with her bag. Well, little bunny, do you need anything?
Trinity could hear the laugh in Reese's voice. She was nothing but a joke to him. A plaything that he hadn't taken out of the wrapper. Joke's on him, she thought. I'm staying in mint condition. Trinity narrowed her eyes at Reese. She wasn't backing down now. If he wanted to play chicken with their mate bond, then she would do it too. Not at all, she said. Good night, Vincent. Vincent looked worried as he stepped off the elevator. Good night. Be careful. When Reese smirked, she could see his canines, waiting for something to bite. Trinity held the eye contact for the rest of the ride to the 25th floor. It was the top level, and there were only 2 suites on the entire floor. Reese finally broke their stare to lead the way to the room. She tried to comfort herself as she followed him. It's a suite. Suite means multiple rooms. He can sleep on the couch like the dog he is.
He stepped in front of their door and sought out her eyes again. Without blinking, he slowly pulled the key from its leather holder and pushed it gently into the lock.
Trinity gulped. She couldn't help it. His eyes darkened, and she knew enough to know what that look meant. He wants me, she thought. He's going to try tonight. The thought should have repulsed her. She should have turned on her heels and rushed down to Vincent's room. Anything to get away from her big, bad alpha mate. So why did her whole body heat up? Her stomach flipped as his tongue wet his lips. She fought the urge to do it too. He gripped the door handle in his fist. Next thing she knew, Reese stepped forward and swept her into a bridal carry. She yelped. Her hands flew up to grab him on instinct. He laughed so freely that she bounced against his chest.
Welcome home, he taunted before crossing the threshold. He used one foot to push the door shut behind them.
Trinity's eyes flew around their suite. Frantically, she took in a living room off of the entry hall. Another larger door led to the bedroom. She couldn't breathe. He carried her forward, and the door felt larger and larger with each step. Her heart pounded so loud that he must have been able to hear it. He walked past the edge of the couch and...
He tossed her onto the couch.
Want to know what happens next? Click on the link in the description below to watch further episodes of Chosen by Fate, Rejected by the Alpha.